Councilor Kuba.
I understand what Councilman Pennington is trying to attempt to do here. Perhaps we could say on the first offense, something like this might apply, where that anytime I'm charged with something, I hire a lawyer. It's not cheap. So any prudent business person is going to hire an attorney. A $500 fine would be the easy way out. The hiring of a lawyer and paying thousands, possibly tens of thousands of dollars to defend him and to help him with an affidavit is the big cost. I like the amendment in so much as it gives somebody an opportunity to respond by affidavit. It would break down the workload on the OIG. It would serve one purpose, and that is it would get the attention of the business owner. I would like to see that perhaps you limit it maybe to the first offense, but I would be in support of it either way.
Councilor Kubash, if you would read Pennington Proposal I, which we will be considering next, that's where he takes care of that issue. Again, Councilor, the Inspector General already has the discretion to conduct a full investigation under standard rules of procedure that they operate, under which, the standard rules of procedure under which they operate. We believe this is unnecessary and would interfere with the ability to conduct a full investigation if there is a valid complaint brought.
Mayor, I believe I has to do with a conviction, whereas the G has to do with only a complaint. So one is a conviction, one is a complaint.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So you wanted the ability to not even
I believe
to not have to respond the first time someone has complained to you.
No, they should respond. But I believe what his amendment is trying to accomplish is compliance with the ordinance. And I believe what he's wanting to do is just like we have these vicious dogs, give them the first bite free. I think what he's trying to say is let this opportunity be for them to hire a lawyer, draft an affidavit, respond to the OIG, to keep it even from being a conviction. And it's going to be costing the person a lot of money. That's my.
I am really glad you made that analogy. I think it clarified it for everybody. Councilmember Pennington.
Thank you, Mayor. I make it clear in the beginning, as part of such investigation, I don't expect that no investigation will occur. So this is just part of the investigation. The Office of the Inspector General has the right to determine whether the affidavit meets the requirements here, and certainly I think that Councilmember Kubash's suggestion of a first offense is a good one, and I'd be happy to accept that amendment if he would like to call it.
Council members, I thought we were ready for a vote. Councilmember Martin.
Sorry, Mayor, I'm confused because I look at I and I call that the Mulligan amendment. Right? I mean, you're giving them a not
135.
not G. So, I mean, I read I and I look at that as that, the Mulligan amendment. I'll call it. Am I correct? You can explain the difference.
Yeah. Yes.
So you lost me at hello.
They gave a deeper explanation. I would call I the Mulligan amendment.
Yes.
G is in essence a Mulligan as well, which says that I can respond by affidavit. There are guidelines.
in the back and I go.
Can't get the front one from the front end.
Okay. Non-golfers out there, it is a do-over. Now, we're almost ready to take a vote on this. Councilmember Kubash has come back in the queue. Councilmember Kubash.
Mayor, what are we trying to accomplish here? We're trying to punish people. We're trying to bring people into compliance with what we're trying to accomplish in the ordinance. So I believe what he is trying to do, absence of being convicted, allow a person who has been charged, an investigation is ongoing, to submit an affidavit. And if you want to make it on only the first offense, but give the person an opportunity to realize you're in violation of a city ordinance. It's kind of like when you get your car towed the first time, you didn't see the no parking sign, you think, God, I didn't know I parked in the wrong spot. But some people need to know what the rules are, and not everybody keeps up with it. I like his amendment, and if he wants me to make a motion to, I'll move to make it on the first offense.
I accept that.
Moved and seconded, so we've limited it to the first offense. Can I have another councilman, Mayor Pro Tem, if you'll hold for just a moment, Mr. Feldman, to make sure everybody's, wait a minute, to make sure everybody's clear. The Office of Inspector General already has the ability to investigate complaints. They will take affidavits, they will take statements, they'll take a range of information and consider that. And the first charge of the OIG is to try to resolve the complaint without moving it forward. To get the parties together, to explain, if both parties agree, to mediate, and to move forward. There's a lot of steps before you ever get to a judicial process. Mr. Feldman?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. An ordinance of this kind doesn't work if we have to prosecute people in municipal court. It works if we can conciliate and achieve voluntary compliance. The Inspector General, as a matter of course, would be receiving a sworn statement from the individual who is accused of engaging in discrimination. That happens anyway. That's part of the regular procedure of the Office of the Inspector General. This amendment says that if that affidavit is received, then the complaint shall be dismissed. I would have great concern as city attorney if, in accordance with what Councilmember Pennington was saying, that the Inspector General could look at the affidavit and dispute whether it's comprehensive and say, no, I don't think it's comprehensive, therefore I'm going to continue. And then does find discrimination, and I go to prosecute. Well, if I'm representing the individual accused of discrimination, I just come back and say that complaint should have been dismissed in the first place because the affidavit met the requisites of the ordinance. This basically takes the whole investigative scheme and turns it on its head. And that's the basic, and I think that's the point that Councilmember Bradford was trying to make. And as city attorney, I have to emphasize that this would gut the ability of the Inspector General. I would also just like to say, with respect to Councilmember Kubash's amendment, the question I would have is, what first offense are we talking about? Are we talking about any first offense of discrimination on any basis? Are we talking about a first offense as to a particular individual? I don't understand it.
I'm going to, I have Councilmember Pennington back in queue. I asked Councilmember Boykins to pull down his motion to call the question because there was only one other councilmember in the queue. So let me come back to Councilmember Pennington and then I will respect Councilmember Boykins' request. Councilmember Pennington.
Thank you. I'd just like to point out I drafted this amendment when the burden of proof of good faith was on the defendant. And I thought that was an unfair situation, and so that's the reason why I drafted this amendment. I think because good faith is a subjective thing and it's very difficult to prove. I mean, you've got to imply from other actions. And so what I was looking for was a way in this particular situation where somebody is going to be discriminated against on one side or the other to resolve the issue in favor of the person who feels like they're being intruded. No question I'm providing. Referring one to the other, but I think they're the ones who are most likely to incur the most harm. It may be appropriate to redraft it and resubmit it once Mr. Davis' amendment is we have to look at that.
So Councilmember Boykins, I'm responding to your request to.
We have a motion and a second.
Yeah, he agreed to your substitute language to limit it to the first offense. And so we're going to move to a vote unless you have a new
one question, Mayor, to City Attorney. City Attorney Feldman, if we took out the word where it says the Office of Inspector General shall, if we change that to may dismiss, will it make a difference?
The Inspector General already has the ability to dismiss.
I know.
So
I'm just trying to satisfy.
it just makes it more difficult.